and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, good morning. I apologize for the late start. Having computer problems this morning. I'm still on the screen. All right. The first thing we need to do actually is I need a motion and 2/3 to talk about our meeting next week. So if someone could pass a motion that we could open that. It's not on the agenda. It just happened yesterday.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Anybody abstain or object? Abstain? Okay. So the presidential forum is next Tuesday at 11 a.m. So I'm not seeing much point in having a meeting, even though we have things scheduled for next week. So we'll have to postpone that until later in the month. So, is anyone planning on coming to Senate if there's an open presidential forum next week?
I wasn't planning to come to Senate.
Me either. My day off. All right, so if we have a motion to cancel next week's meeting, I'm sorry.
Melissa, you sure about that? Oh, yeah, for the open forum. Sorry.
For the open
I
forum,
apologize.
is that
My
11?
fault, my fault.
I have a question. Was there a particular reason why it was scheduled to conflict with Senate? Who scheduled the meetings?
HR? Yeah. No, I don't know. It was requested and coordinating that it not occur that way. So, not sure why that happened. So do we have a motion? Not yet? We did? And a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? All right, no meeting next week. We have the Hall of Fame ceremony this Thursday, so that's super exciting. We also have the non-credit curriculum state and Senate meeting here at Cerritos on March 21st. So you're all invited to attend that. We didn't get enough volunteers to help out with that day. And then we have the following Saturday is the Area C meeting for the Academic State Senate. That's also here at Cerritos, and that's from 10 to 3. So,
Michelle,
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people know what that is.
it's where we go over all the resolutions for the state Senate. So they get sent to the different areas. There's 4 different areas in California. We're Area C. And we go over all the resolutions and we change them according to what Area C wants. And then when we go to plenary, we will vote on those as areas to move those forward as resolutions. So that's Saturday the 28th. The State of Education Address is scheduled for Tuesday, March 31st. And we got the Academic Excellence Awards scheduled. That's actually April 28th, not the 2nd. April 28th. Is that right, or 23rd? April? It's the 23rd. Yeah, sorry, yeah, the 23rd. Oh, no, that's right, the Outstanding Faculty Awards are the 23rd. Sorry, I'm all flustered. The 23rd at 11 a.m., and we'll hear from Damon in a minute about that, and the Academic Excellence Awards are April 2nd. Is that right? Is that the 3rd?
Yes, that's what I have.
Okay. Yeah, April 2nd on a Thursday, yeah. Okay, at 7. And those are done. So the students are done, the outstanding faculty are done. And then Deb Moore requested an information item.
I guess it's more of an announcement. So if you come over to the library, you'll see that they have some new lights. So they're LED, which is fine, and I understand their energy savings and money savings. They are incredibly bright. They're like operating room bright. So we didn't get consulted about this or asked or whatever. They're kind of blue, which I don't like, but some people do, so I can let that go, even though we're all going to look bad. But my understanding, these are coming to all of us, so you might want to come look. And I looked up, did some research yesterday after the first batch were in, and I found some suggestions for light levels for libraries. And the high end for reading and normal office work is 30-foot candles. These are 51-foot candles. I'm telling you, they are too bright. And we have no switches. I have no switch in my office, so if they put it in my office, which I think is coming, I couldn't turn them off. Or dim them at the moment. They're really bad. Please have a look. And I think they're going in all the buildings, so please have a look, because they're really bright. I really think it's an uncomfortable, for people who read all the time, I don't think it's a comfortable level. So I just want to let you know,
Do we have
because
a
we didn't know.
users group on the lights?
Pardon?
If we ordered these lights, then do we have a users group for that?
No, I don't think there was.
There was no users group for ordering lights.
I looked up this research yesterday after.
Is there like the locks on the doors, when we had the discussion about the locks on the doors, there were state-approved locks, are there state-approved lights?
I didn't get that impression. I mean, I assume there are lower output LED lights. I mean, than
Or
this many.
softer.
Well, there's definitely softer. And so David Moore said something on maybe putting dimmer switches, but I just don't think that should be a maybe if we're doing this. 'Cause really, they're bright. Please come by.
Chris?
I was gonna say dimmers can be used with LEDs whereas they can't with fluorescents, but they can with LEDs. And also LEDs are not just blue, you can get other
I know
color
you can,
temperature.
but they're daylight, which
No, yeah.
that's what they say. They're blue to me, but I'm not arguing the color so much because then it gets a little ridiculous. But they're really bright.
Did facilities put those in?
Yeah.
Did you ask them?
Did I ask them to put them in?
No, did you ask them, you know?
Yeah, I sent the research to them yesterday. This all happened yesterday. So then I sent them my little table, and I asked him how many foot candles they were, and he did check, and they were 51, and the recommendation is 30. 50 is for like super, like really I think it's sort of operating room. It's like high detail kind of stuff. No, really, I really think, or manufacturing or something. But I really don't think it's a comfortable reading level for most people for an extended period of time. Come have a look. Because they maybe show up in your office. I suggested they do the administrator's offices first, but I don't know if they're going to take me up on it.
Thank you, Deb. Do we have a motion to approve
Look.
the minutes from 2:24 last week?
Move approval.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions? Oh, right, we have Mojda, I'm so sorry, Mojda, Lara, Chris Wilson.
I just wanted to do, was there a change, Miriam, I sent you just a quick little change yesterday.
Yes.
Yes,
Monday.
that change was made.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, just as I was saying, yes.
Great, thank you. Appointments and nominations, we still have developmental ed CTE rep, although I do know that Nick Rios sent an email out to CTE chairs, but I have not heard back yet. So if you guys have CTE in your division, please mention this, because CTE is going without representation on the developmental ed committee, and they have been for the entire year. So it'd be really great if we could get someone on there. Hiring, we have two requests, geology, for Crystal Lobatier, Dan DeCracker, and Tor Lacey. And we have one for physics. We got that one. Just came in this morning, which was Thad Zabo, James Henriquez, and Robert Bushauer. Okay. So we have a motion to, oh no, we're not doing, are we doing that? No. I was just letting you know. Okay. All right, and that's all I have for appointments and nominations this week. And then Damon is up with fun stuff.
That's right, fun in terms of rewards. I'm handing out awards and cash prizes and things like that. I just want to actually report to you guys on behalf of the Professional Relations Committee. We've concluded our evaluations of the nominations for outstanding faculty, and we have our awardees in. So the awardees goes as follows. Our most outstanding faculty is Frank Mixon from the Division of Liberal Arts. We also have Angela Conley, Lance Kaiser.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no.
I just said cool.
David Betancourt, Madeline Betancourt, our very own Linda Palumbo, and also to Mike Farina. These are all of our full-time faculty awardees. And onto our part-time faculty awardees, we have Jeff Fisher and Priscilla Bell. Jeff Fisher from physical education and Priscilla Bell from chemistry. So these are our outstanding faculty for both full-time and also two part-time. Our award ceremony will be April 23rd. Come join us at the Student Activity Center.
Thank you so much, Damon. Damon and his committee did a lot of hard work on that, so thank you so much. Senate items, discussion items. I would like to move the resolution in support of funding all approved sabbaticals first. because now we have no meeting next week, and the board meeting is March 18th to approve the 6 that have been forwarded by administration. So, got this resolution on Friday. We're waiting for the screen to come up. Oh, there. I think it's the Word document. Oh, we got it come up. This was the resolution that was given, that was handed in to me, and it was signed off on by 3 faculty, Jack Wilson, Karen Solomon, and Solomon Namala. And I heard last week that the faculty was in favor of all 12. So that was the discussion we had. The board has told Dr. Lacey they're only going to approve 6. So that's what Dr. Lacey did. But the Senate actually forwarded 12. So when I read this, I was in favor of it, but I also think that the board had some responsibility to work with us according to their board policy, and they didn't. So they didn't do anything. So I added some stuff to this. The other thing I added was, before I bring it up, is a resolution, or one of the resolves, that would allow me to talk to the board before presenting this resolution. So instead of just giving them this resolution and telling them you either have to do 12 or we're gonna require a written explanation from you, I may be able to talk to them and come to mutual agreement with them. So let me bring up the changes I made. Yes?
So they already approved 6? Or-
No,
Okay.
Dr. Lacey has forwarded 6.
She forwarded.
Forwarded 6, yes. Yep. All right, so I added, and I didn't really change what was there. I moved some stuff around to kind of put it together, but I added this section here about the board policies. So to start, the board policy states in section 2510 of section 5 that the Board of Trustees and Cerritos College and the duly appointed administrators of the college will reach mutual agreement with the faculty senate by written resolution, regulation, or policy in relation to the academic and professional matters described in E, F, G, H, I, and K of section 4 above, where I is professional development. In instances where agreement has not been reached, existing policy shall remain in effect unless continuing with such policy exposes the district to legal liability or causes substantial funding hardship or fiscal hardship. The governing board may act after a good faith effort to reach agreement only for compelling legal, fiscal, and organizational reasons, and in board policy 2510 section 6, if a recommendation is not accepted, the Board of Trustees will, upon request of the faculty senate, provide a written explanation as to why the recommendation was not followed. Sorry. Guess I'm sorry, get there. The second one, also referring to board policy 2510, section 6, that the Board of Trustees and the duly appointed administrators of the college will consult collegially with the faculty senate when adopting policies and procedures relating to the matters described above, the 10+1. The Board of Trustees will give at least 4 weeks written notice to the faculty senate prior to the adoption, modification, or implementation of policies relating to any of the above, including a written statement of the proposed policy. And whereas Board 2510 section 7 states that the Board of Trustees of Cerritos College and the duly appointed administrators of the college will reach mutual agreement with the faculty senate by written resolution, regulation, or policy in relation to academic and professional matters described in items E, F, G, H, I, and K of section 4 above. So I made just some basic changes there, just some wording changes. Go down. I didn't take any of this out, it's just been moved. The red is things that were moved, and the green is what I added. So I added 2 further resolves. So be it further resolved that the faculty senate will work in mutual agreement as required by board policy 2510, section 7, with the board of trustees to determine if all sabbaticals approved by the sabbatical leave committee should be funded. And then finally, the other resolve was that in the absence of mutual agreement between the Board of Trustees and the Faculty Senate requests a written explanation that provides the exceptional circumstances or compelling reasons outlined in Board Policy 2510, Section 6, for not following the Senate's recommendations. And then again, the red is just what I moved. The blue had questions, but those were answered. Sorry. Okay, there was a question over there?
I have a question.
Yeah.
On the sheet that we have, the fourth whereas, all sabbaticals approved by the sabbatical leave committee between academic years 2004 through 9 were funded. I think it would make more of an impression if we said how many were funded.
Okay. I don't know.
for example, you know, if we funded 13 in 2004, 12 in 2005, you know, and so they know that there's a good number of sabbatical leaves that have been approved.
Okay. For all of those years?
I would think it would have more of an impact.
So there's a precedent for.
Correct. Not just that they were approved, that's okay, but how many were approved?
Yes. Aaron?
You forgot an apostrophe somewhere.
Yeah.
It's on one of the, sorry, and I don't know if this matters, but hey, you know, it matters to me.
I didn't know English mattered. No, I'm kidding. Of course it matters, yes, yes.
It's on one of the, be it further resolved, so down page when you're done.
Okay.
I think it was about, yeah, go ahead. Going, it's one of the greens,
Oh, okay.
right there, the Senate's recommendations, following the Senate's recommendation.
And which
So
one?
it should be, the last line of the green,
Oh,
be it
got
further
it.
resolved, yeah, so
Right there?
apostrophe.
Okay.
My students do it all the time, so now I'm like eagle-eyed.
Crystal?
Solomon, do you like these additions?
Yeah, I do. I think they make it stronger, the additions. I was thinking about another whereas, I don't know if it's appropriate. I mean, we haven't had professional development. We used to have professional development for faculty. We would get $500, I know years ago, for faculty to attend conferences. We haven't had any of that for some years now. And this is one of our main means of professional development. I don't know if the Senate would like to add that in, or if you think that this is fine, then I'm okay with that.
Tracy?
Just for clarification, just to make it clear that we're linking it to professional development
Yeah,
as item whatever I or whatever it is in the board policy.
yeah.
Yeah, we probably should.
Linda?
I actually think that the conference funding is a separate issue from the sabbaticals, although they are related in terms of professional development. I just worry that it might muddy the waters to bring that up here too.
Darren?
I just want to, it's not the faculty senate that's deciding that sabbaticals are a part of professional development. It's actually the Academic Senate of California that made that decision. So it's actually more powerful that it's coming from them. And I think we should be careful about stating the amount of numbers or the amount of sabbaticals that went, that were funded by the board from 2004 to 2009, whatever those dates were. I know that some of the numbers were low, but that's because that's all the people that applied. I think there was one year where only 5 people went because 5 people applied. And so it might send the wrong message if we include those numbers. I think it's more important that we just state that, you know what, in the past, the Sabbatical Leaves Committee recommended or approved a certain amount of sabbaticals, and they were always funded, so why has it changed? I think that's the more important issue.
I agree.
I think with the low number, you could give that explanation. Only 5 were requested. No, 5, we only had 5 applications.
Oh, yeah, I would agree
I
with
mean,
you, but
I
if I
don't
could add,
see
we
it.
would only do that if we had the opportunity to do that.
Right.
Right? If they just read
I
this,
don't know how
then we
many were
won't have an
funded in those
opportunity.
years. Do you know what I'm saying? I have no idea what the numbers were. So if I don't know, I mean, that would be one of the questions that I would ask. You know, okay, you had some funded, but how many went? 2, 3? I mean, I don't want them to be thinking that it was such a low number that was funded.
Okay, so are we gonna put the number in there or not? Tracy?
I think, I agree with Terrence, maybe we don't identify a specific number, probably because I don't think there was ever a number like used as a guideline anyway, so I don't know if we want to say historically they have always been funded, or all of them.
All of them.
You know, historically, because it's
So
not
start
like
with
we said.
historically and set? So if we, and take out the number?
Because if we, yeah, if we say all, that is.
That's it. That was, yeah, everyone that applied. That's correct.
I don't know what bearing this would have in it, but in the old faculty handbook policy on sabbaticals, it said the maximum number of sabbatical leaves granted in any 1 year shall not exceed 5% of full-time employees. Didn't we have that in here?
Yes.
That was actually in the
That's still in the
contract now.
Oh, and that's,
It's
so
the
that
last
seems
red
like
one.
that might encompass that, because what that then suggests is based on the number of full-time faculty, the number will vary from year to year.
Yeah.
Well, and I think before I was on sabbatical before the bad years of money, and in some sense, we were just lucky that we didn't get more applications so, I mean, there was a number, whatever that was, probably the 5% number, and there was 1 year where we had like one too many, and then somebody pulled out, and we were happy, that we didn't have to say no, but it was possible that someone wasn't gonna get to go. So I'd stick with that number and say, this is the number we said we could have, and there's enough money now. We should let that many people go.
Okay, so I want to point out that the first resolve is asking them to take all 12. It's the second resolve that allows the leadership to talk to the board members and try to work this out. Not sure how that's going to happen, but Mary Ellen?
Is that, would that be 5% of the full-time faculty, all 12?
13
Yeah,
is the
that's what
total,
we have
it's
it.
5%.
Okay.
Did you make the suggestion somebody said about it being a California, not just a Cerritos College? Was
Yeah.
that change made?
That's right.
Yeah, they're at the top. They didn't, I think the one thing that did change in the second whereas is we added the academic senate of California community colleges, just to let them know that this was not the local senate's idea, that this actually came from the state. So the first two resolves are actually from the Senate, and they're written about in multiple papers, as well as their handbook. So, Terrence.
And I think it's important that the board understand that, for example, not the entire board, but some of the board members who debate this issue, that it's not debatable. The value of sabbaticals have been determined by the Academic Senate of California. And according to California law, they make that determination, not the local boards. So I think that when they understand that, and the fact that we have money, and the fact that our contract states that it's maximum of 5%, right? I think hopefully they'll be able to move beyond this issue and we could have the sabbaticals fully funded.
Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, of course, the board did not notify us that they were only taking 6. They went through Dr. Lacey, and Dr. Lacey told us, wasn't in writing technically, but nonetheless, they're saying it's a fiscal issue, which does require a response from by the board to the Senate. If there's a fiscal issue, they need to explain that to us. All right, are there any other suggested changes? Is everyone okay with this the way it is? Scott, is there something else wrong with it?
No, I was gonna bring up something else that I did.
Okay.
I can do with this, I'll do with this.
Okay, yeah.
Do you have a timetable as to when you plan to meet with the board? You said the leadership, I don't know who, I see you. Are you saying you and Solomon will meet with them?
Well, Solomon is not Senate leadership.
I know.
Right,
But,
he's CCFF, but I was talking about 1, 2, or 3 of the Senate. It is a union issue, it is a CCFF issue as well, so I have no issue, Solomon and I have talked about going together.
Yeah.
And talking, so probably, my guess would be it would be me and Solomon,
Okay.
but
Okay.
from the Senate, it would just be me, unless Tim and Monica want to join us, which of course they can, and I would ask them to.
Okay. Do you know when the board is likely to take on this issue?
They are taking it on March 18th.
Okay, so you do plan to meet with them before
I
that?
plan to present this resolution tomorrow to them, and hopefully meet with them there's 2 weeks from tomorrow. So meet with them over the next 2 weeks.
Michelle, I just have a question for clarification. It's my understanding that faculty have already been notified. They've received letters saying they either did receive sabbaticals or not. So isn't that something that should have come?
I didn't know that the people that were not got a letter.
I
was aware that the people that did.
I spoke to someone today who received notification that they did not receive it. So shouldn't that have come through here again first, or no, or no?
I didn't know that letters had been sent to people that did not receive it. I did give the okay for Dr. Schilling to send out the letters to the people that did receive it.
Maybe that's
because that's on paper now, so that is likely to get out. So I did agree to that, and I have that in the email. I didn't know that people that didn't get it had been notified.
Maybe they found out through word of mouth.
No, they were emailed.
Oh, they were.
And Michelle, I emailed them, I'm sorry I didn't notify, I figured once people got informed, other people would say, what about me, so I wanted to make sure everyone got a letter.
Well, that may not be all bad. They may be happier then if we can get this resolved and go back to them and say that you do get it. Yeah, Solomon.
I just want to remind faculty that, you know, if it's decided on March 18th board meeting, that's during spring break.
Yeah.
So it's important that we have faculty presence there. Hopefully the discussions will go well. If not, it would be good to have faculty presence there, but it's spring break. Mark your calendars anyway.
So March 14th?
March 18th, I think. Yes.
I just want to move approval of the resolution.
Second.
Linda, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Those abstaining? Motion passes. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Aborn and Liz Page and Dr. Schilling for allowing us to move that so we can get that settled. We have plenty of time, yes? Excellent. Yeah.
I just wanted, before we voted on cancel next meeting, like I was like, and then I took it back and I was trying to check my calendar. I'm pretty sure on Tuesday, in fact, I will guarantee, there's nothing in them, there's not a candidate in the morning. They're in the afternoon. Because I'm meeting with them.
Oh, there's 5.
Yeah, there's 5. There's one on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday, 2 on Thursday.
2 on Thursday?
So Tuesdays is in the afternoon, so the open forums are usually when the candidates, it's either gonna be at 11 or about 4. So on Tuesday, the open forum, the coordinating committee meets with them at 3, and an open forum is at 4. So there's nothing on, I'm not saying bring back the meeting, we voted to get rid of it. But I just want to make sure because because in case you're thinking there's an open forum at 11 and you show up, but
I did think there was an open forum at 11.
yeah,
But I just
because
saw-
there's
I
two
saw 4.
on Wednesday, 2 on Thursday.
Yeah.
So there's an open forum at
So
11.
there's 2 on Thursday.
And then I know it got and on Wednesday, coordinating committee's meeting with them at it's supposed to be at 3, but it's been moved to 4. So I don't know when the open forum has been moved to on Wednesday.
But Wednesday got moved.
It might, but well, I got an email saying that that coordinating's meeting with the candidate on Wednesday at 4 now. So, because normally, okay, the open forum for faculty is supposed to be either 11 o'clock or 4 o'clock, depending on if there's a candidate, one for the morning, one for the afternoon. And I believe Tuesday, there's only one candidate that's in the afternoon.
You are right.
So that's 4. And then there's 2 on Wednesday, but I think one of the time has been changed on the afternoon candidate.
3 o'clock.
Till 3 o'clock.
It's been, so the open forum's now at 3. So-
You know, it probably would be best to, Mariah sent something out and it's posted on the website, there's a link. So any changes would be made there, because I did see that email, but I can't remember
Yeah.
what got changed.
Because I was writing it down.
So rather than, it would be easier if everyone just checks that, the full schedule is up there and
Yeah.
any changes will be noted on that.
I would just bring that back because we voted, because we thought there was something at 11 on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying
Yeah, 11.
get rid of it or
I
bring it
got,
back.
I'm not the only one, there were emails about it.
I know,
got
I was
emails
confused
about it being
too.
Tuesday at 11.
I was wondering, because Tim sent it to me, didn't he, yesterday? And it
Yeah,
said
Tim sent
4
me-
o'clock on Tuesday.
Yeah. I haven't got a chance to look at email yesterday. I just saw it in the morning. Then I got a bunch of emails, that's why I was concerned. All right, well, what do we want to do then?
I personally, I think since it's afternoon, I think everybody should go to the open forum anyway. It's 4,
Right.
so
What do
I don't
we do
have,
about our meeting?
I personally, I'm just speaking for myself, have a problem with people saying, if you want to go, you're going to stay later if we have a meeting in the morning, you should be going to the open
Well,
forum.
I would,
I don't, I'm just.
I've already moved everything for next Tuesday,
Okay,
so.
I got no problems.
And we've got, it looks like we have a busy week, even if we don't have it on Tuesday, there's 2 on Wednesday and 2 on Thursday.
They didn't, Marianne, they didn't change on Tuesday morning, right?
Sorry for going out of order, I apologize.
I know, we can't remember either.
No, if you want me to speak to that, I don't.
No, it says there's one that's not on Tuesday.
Well, actually,
On the
you may
website.
recall, members of the coordinating committee, that we held the entire week, morning and afternoon, for the possibility of the candidates coming in, and we weren't sure how many were going to be invited. And so now that the dates have been set, it's all day on Thursday, all day on Wednesday, and the afternoon of Tuesday. And all the times are the same for all the candidates, morning, afternoon, except for the candidate on Wednesday afternoon, and that's because there's a groundbreaking scheduled at 4 o'clock, so we had to move the forum to 3 o'clock and coordinating committee to 4 o'clock in order to accommodate the individuals who need to participate in the groundbreaking that occurs at the same time. All the forums will be videotaped and posted on the Presidential Search website. So if you're not able to attend a forum, you're able then to view it at your leisure at home and or wherever. And also there will be an evaluation form created in SurveyMonkey where you can watch the video, the forms, and then fill out the form and click. All of the input that we receive will be directed to the trustees intact. So that way we'll see how you answered question 1 and question 2, whatever it might be. The trustees will see your entire survey. We're not aggregating anything. I think that answered your question.
Great.
Okay, well, thank you, Michelle. So I asked Michelle if we could, Liz Page, Lucinda Aburn, and myself could just give you an update on what the college is doing around accessibility. We've had multiple issues over the last year, and it's only getting more as we use more technology. It just becomes more complicated, and it affects all of you directly. So last year, we formed a 508 compliance committee to look at actually putting a policy together that would define universal access. And the reason we're talking about universal access versus accommodations is because universal access is access to everyone, and it improves everyone's access to the learning that goes on in the classroom. So that's really where the college is and where the college wants to go, is not talking about accommodations, which we need to make and we want to make, and taking it out of the compliance area, which is still real and we need to be compliant, but really how do we have a discussion, a positive discussion about universal access and how it affects every single one of our students here on campus. So that's really, so we wanted to come back and let you know that there is going to be a policy. Dr. Johnson is making refinements on it, and we'd like to bring that back for a future Senate meeting. We didn't want to confuse you with too many things today. We just wanted to give you an idea of where we're going, and I'm going to rely on my colleagues Liz and Lucinda to fill in all of the blanks and answer your questions. So, yeah. So I think I'll turn it over to Lucinda to talk about why universal access is so important and some of the things that we're doing to address that.
The background on compliance for providing accessibility for students with disabilities goes back to our compliance with federal legislation 504. However, the federal government provided with the advancement of electronic technology and access to electronic information, an amendment to the Rehabilitation Act, which is Section 508. So you may have heard the term Section 508. Back in 2003, the Chancellor's Office legal opinion was disseminated to give us some guidance on what does that mean? How do we make our electronic technology information accessible, and what are the community colleges' legal responsibilities to this federal legislation? So you have in your packet one of the legal opinions. It was kind of developed throughout the early 2000s, and that provides the community colleges with our legal guidance to what we have to provide. Currently on campus, what we have been following is our non-discrimination board policy, so including this special population of students with disabilities, going back to non-discrimination. However, because of the advancement of technology and the many different ways that that's being included in the classroom, outside of the classroom, how does website impact accessibility, we have determined through our task force, it came forth through purchasing issues, it came forth through IT, it's been mandated through accessibility and online education. So there's been a number of initiatives statewide that really tells us what we might need to do as a college, and that's why the task force is recommending the board policy. Through the board policy, then providing a broad stroke of what that will mean in accessibility, then we'll be able to target associated procedures, or APs, in each one of the areas that may be impacted as it relates to how we comply. So that's a little bit of the background and where it stands as far as the support in the community colleges. We know that that means a lot for all of you as faculty, and we want to work together with you because it is part of accommodations that we interact with students with disabilities, but there are many things that faculty can do in advance that will set the stage for accessibility for all students, regardless of what their learning styles may be. And so Liz has been working hard to put together some information for you on some tips and suggestions.
So we're part of the team that we want to work with all of the faculty in helping to resolve any issues that come up with accommodating students with disabilities. Historically, it's been primarily DSPS, but as we're evolving using technology more, it's actually a team effort, a campus effort to ensure that all students are able to access their course curriculum. So we've got a couple handouts. One is just in general DSPS information about what our role is on campus, how we determine eligibility for services, and so forth, some of the accommodations that we do provide. If you get a student in your class who's asking for accommodations, you don't have to sit there and try to figure it out on your own. We're here to work with you. We want to be certain that the student is working with DSPS so that we can determine what is the appropriate accommodation. Sometimes students ask for accommodations without consulting with their DSPS specialist. So please do, if you have questions or concerns, please contact us. Let us know. But we also want you to be aware that there are other resources on campus if you are having any issues with making your course accessible. So you've got another handout on accessible electronic materials. It's just some frequently asked questions on how, why you need to make your courses accessible to everyone, why it's important, some different scenarios. The first, and also some resources on the back. There's web resources that may be helpful for you if you want to do some checking on your own, or you want to figure out how to put alt tags on your visual images and so forth. So there's actually some sort of detailed information, but you don't need to do it on your own. We've got resources on campus. You'll see if you have course material on the web, you can consult with Ty or Samuel Chavez regarding web accessibility. Sorry, I have a dry mouth, I have a cold, and I'm on med, so. Sorry. Captioning, Bernice Watson would be the person that you would consult with if you need to provide videos or DVDs that have captioning in your classes. One of the issues that we've been having is accessibility of software that's being used in classes. And so one of the important things is to ensure before you purchase any software that it's been deemed accessible by IT. Tim Killerstad is our contact in IT to test all of the software to ensure accessibility, particularly to screen readers, and to ensure that captioning is also available. One of the examples that where that worked out really well recently was the purchase of Cynosure. Was an example where we had an opportunity to evaluate that ahead of time and use that information in making the decision to go ahead and purchase the product. And I'm sorry, I didn't explain what Cynosure is. It's the product that we're using to create an online orientation. Counseling is doing that. So that they came to us and inquired, is this accessible? We know that we need to provide software or a program that's accessible to all students. So that was an important step that they took in ensuring accessibility. And we would like to promote that amongst everyone, because once you purchase it and once you start using it and then you find out you've got a problem, it's a lot more difficult to fix at that point. So if
if you embrace the idea of universal access or universal design, there's some information here on what are some of those concepts in making education universally accessible to everyone. And we'll also be putting some more information on our webpage regarding that as well. And then getting back to some of your other resources, Talanet, if you have issues with students who can't access Talanet. Dave Gunn, Cynthia Alexander is a great resource, she's over there. Shauna Basket, that kind of falls in their area. And then DSPS, our role is helping to determine what's an appropriate accommodation in the classroom. How does this students' limitations impact them in the educational environment, and what kind of accommodation would be reasonable in this case to allow that student an equal opportunity to access their materials and benefit from education as all of the other students in the classroom. And I know I have a couple of things. You have another flyer. We have an open house coming up. So because there are a lot of questions coming up lately about what does DSPS do? What is your role? What am I supposed to do? Who does this? And so forth. So we do have a presentation coming up on April 2nd in our new location, our new high-tech center. And we'll have a workshop to kind of go over what our role is. It's an opportunity for folks to come and bring their questions. If you have questions that you want to inquire about student particular cases that you've got. And then we'll do some demonstrations of some of the programs that students use to access their materials. You'll be able to earn flex credit, and we'll have some snacks. So we hope that you'll come and join us for that and see us in our new location. And I also wanted to mention we have Ed Tech Day coming up. And I know we've got some workshops on during Ed Tech Day on March 11th that will also help you. There's one on captioning made easy and one on creating accessible content in Talanet. And there's also one on Premier software, which is a program that will, it's kind of promoted by DSPS because it works well for students that have issues with reading comprehension or they need their materials read to them word by word. But actually, this is something that can benefit all students. And in fact, I think the student body is still paying for the contract for this software for all students to access. So it's something that was designed for students with disabilities, but actually it can be great for students that are learning English as a second language, or reading is just not their strong point, or writing. These are things that universal access makes things better for all students, not just students with disabilities. About it.
So if I could just add, one of the things that we had, 2 years ago, I'd come to Senate and ask for people to put their syllabi on Talanet. And we have about maybe 60% of you are using Talanet to just put your syllabi on, whether you're teaching an online class or not. And recently we found that there were students who were not being given their syllabi electronically. That's the easy way to do it, but you can also just send it to your students on your own. And in this particular case, the student was blind and was unable to use the JAWS reader because you can't do it on a hard copy. The JAWS is a software program, it can't read this, it has to read it electronically, and just scanning it is also not going to help. So things as simple as that can really create a barrier, and it creates extra time for you as a professor now okay, now I've got to find it electronically or send it to in an email, etc. When a very simple solution is just to have your syllabi and your materials posted online. That way everybody wins. If someone needs to use software to read the materials, they can do it very easily. And your other students who might lose the piece of paper you give them or anything else, will also be able to access it. So that again is the concept of universal access. Everybody can access your material more easily. So I will put in a plea again to ask you if you would be posting your materials on Talanet in your course shell. Everybody's course shell is open. If you need assistance with that, Dave Gunn can help you. But that's a very simple solution to a lot of issues that do come up that won't be an issue if you just post your materials, and that way the students can access it. Angela, I think you had a question?
No.
Yes, two questions.
Now, does your group, do they survey GPS or DSPS students to see what they see would benefit them in regards to having access to technology like this?
We've actually used a student satisfaction survey that's been part of some of the student services area, and so it does include some specific feedback. Particularly, though, I think most of the students have a relationship with their specialist, and then that special, because their educational plan is updated on an annual basis, and so as technology is emerging and changing, then through their specialist recommendations or suggestions and other access issues come up.
And then a follow-up to that. So, and then you also said it's also accessibility for all students on campus. So I'm assuming that with those same surveys you're taking, that's where you take into consideration what the whole student body as the whole needs or would like to see.
Correct, and that's part of the unit plans that are developed, as well as our accomplishments towards student learning outcomes within the student services area. Anything else, Stephen, that you want to?
I would just comment, Victor, that we have, the student services area has area-wide student learning outcomes that have been studied each of the last 4 years, or 3 years and currently. And those learning outcomes, we survey based on them. And we survey also based on operations within each of the functional units within student services. So the surveys will be comprised of some general and then also particular to the area. Those particular to the area are picked up in those offices, but we're also surveying generally.
And we've also done some focus groups too, you know, that has helped us to hone in on goals and suggestions.
Liz wanted to answer.
Yeah, I had a question.
I'm sorry. Liz wanted to answer.
Can I just add to that a little bit? So the idea of universal access is sort of a campus-wide responsibility to ensure that all students have access to their curriculum. So that includes the broad spectrum of students that are here at Cerritos. The role of DSPS is to ensure that students with disabilities have access.
So yeah, when did we start knowing this was a problem? Was this like something that like there was reports from students or faculty like this semester? Was it last semester? Or, when did this start being a problem?
The actual act, Louise, was written in 1973.
No, but like
So this
we're
is an
doing
update
this
of the
initiative
act.
on like access, like trying to better access. When did we start planning this idea or
Well,
Did you get this one?
Yeah.
No.
It's a law, okay? It's the law, and when I first started saying, the reason we formed a task force is because we want the campus to embrace universal access, and that's why we're pushing forward to work on all of the different aspects of how we make sure that we're accessible. And so since faculty are most affected, that's why we're bringing it today to the faculty. Now, in terms of complaints or issues, that's an ongoing thing, and that usually happens out of DSPS. A student needs accommodations, and we work with faculty, DSPS works with faculty to make sure that those accommodations are made. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time to make sure that those accommodations can be made. If we have software, for example, that is not accessible, we either have to work with the vendor, or we have to work with the faculty member, if the faculty member can do other things, and most of our faculty do work with our DSPS to find ways to accommodate a student, but that's always an ongoing issue. It's just that those issues around technology are starting to rise, so that's why we were pushing for this, so to make everybody aware of the things that we all can be doing.
Okay, so you said this was law in 1978. So some classes here weren't complying with the law, I guess. Is that what you're saying? Or I'm confused. Yeah.
There's this sheet over there that updates the law. I don't think you have this one. There should be over
There's nobody in this room or on the campus that's willfully not complying with the law. Usually we're focusing on when we have a student who needs access and we discover that something that's being given to all students isn't able to be given to that particular student. That's why we want to be proactive here so that we have universal access and we're doing things as a college so that we're not running into having so many individual issues or surprises when suddenly we have a student that we can't accommodate. Does that kind of answer your question?
And in 2008, IT standards were developed that included the inclusion of accessibility. In 2010, we had access guidelines for distance education. So it's been an evolutionary process. Purchasing developed their board policy about 2 years ago, so it's been ongoing. Question, Frank?
I just want to make a comment. I have a student in my class now that just yesterday, I sent them over to you guys. And even though it's late in the semester, and he told me, I'm already part of DSPS, but I was never informed. So, he didn't come to you for my class, but he went to you guys for other courses for accommodation. So sometimes it's the student that is ashamed or doesn't want to be part of it. And I've seen that. So sometimes I pull them to the side because I look at their progress and how they're going, and something's up, and I don't know what it is, so I refer them to you guys. And you guys are the ones that are the professionals, not us. And so I do accommodate, but I tell them, I can't accommodate you unless you guys give me permission to accommodate you.
But it's a great example because, and again, I don't know what the accommodations, some accommodations are specific and particular to, and DSPS can assist.
Yeah.
But again, if we are aware of these things and we do some things that will give students opportunity, they don't even need to talk to you because you already have that posted and they can do whatever they need to because they've got access to that material.
It's also in my syllabus. I put that right in my syllabus, so.
Crystal, what's next?
And just as questions are being asked, I want to highlight that our campus has an amazing DSPS program, and the work that is done with our students really is exceptional compared to, for example, other community colleges or even universities. Sometimes I hear of our students that are going to not have access to the amazing opportunities that they have here when they transfer to Cal State, and sometimes they have to choose a particular Cal State that might be more accommodating, for example, to deaf students. So I want to highlight that this to me just is an example of you already being exceptional and then wanting to excel even beyond that.
Julie?
Is there something that you can refer, I think, the students to, or people who have not been on campus for a long time, the footprint of this? Because, I have to really do, I've been here now 13 years full-time, 14 years full-time, and there has been an incredible communication between faculty and I think the need to really do what we need to do for all students here. But maybe if you could just refer the students or any new faculty to the footprint.
Sure. Well, if the information that we've handed out today, will be posted on our website. We do make presentations to all of the new faculty academy. And then, of course, we're willing to go to any division and give the same information or even specifics. So we welcome invites and we're happy to do that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to remind that periodically, campus communities need to have these discussions to make sure that we're remaining mindful. One of the big reasons in this day and age for this is that the technology is changing so fast. And the technology operates and impacts us in different ways. One is some technology brings some needs for accessibility. Other technology is arriving that provides that accessibility, but we need to be looking for it or obtaining it. Other times we're deploying technology in a way different than we have before, and it's going to bring all these additional improvements, but we also need to make sure that we're addressing accessibility. Cynosure is a beautiful example of that. We are going to provide great resources for students under 3SP for matriculation purposes, orientation, for workshops, for improvement. Be a wonderful resource. In working with them, they came up with a solution that not only is going to benefit students who need accessibility, it will benefit everybody. Looking at it's a really beautiful example of universal design for learning because everybody is going to win as a result of the formatting that our counselors and others worked with them to make sure we would do.
So it's part of having these really, healthy discussions where we can all contribute to these better outcomes. And that's why we need to talk about it very often.
Victor?
Going off what Senator Vega said, would it be possible for the DSPS department to, once, a student comes to them, needing accommodations, would it be possible, I'm assuming they're registered with DSPS, would it be possible to email out each semester to their instructors, to the classes they are enrolled in, just to put a word out, stating, this DSPS student is in your classroom? Because, maybe it took something for that student who went to their class before Senator Vega's to say, I need this help. And maybe he didn't have that same courage again in Senator Vega's, classroom. But if DSPS was able to email out all instructors of registered DSPS students, I think it would be just something that could further support DSPS students on campus.
Liz,
Can we take that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, one of the things that is students with disabilities, if they're not required to go through DSPS or identify themselves, it's up to them to come to us and request services. They have that right to privacy and confidentiality, and so we would be breaking that if we were to send a mass email out to their instructors. But we encourage students to indicate to their professors in a private moment, either in their office hour or something, that they what their particular needs are for accommodations.
Thank you.
Cynthia?
I just wanted to say a couple of things. Liz mentioned Tech Day next week, and I'm doing 2 of the workshops that she mentioned. The captioning workshop is going to be hands-on. Participants are going to actually be adding captions to a video in that workshop. And the other one, on the accessibility on Telenet, I'm going to be showing how to create things for Telenet that are accessible. And one of the things is on Word documents, I have a handout that if somebody wants to email me, if you want to email me, you can. And I have a handout on how to make Word documents accessible. So, or actually all Office documents accessible. So that's just a resource that I can give out anybody that wants it.
Great, thanks, Cynthia. Erin?
I just wanted to address Victor and then the other student back there. I probably could speak to about all faculty here. In every syllabus, we all put something about DSPS. We all address students with disabilities. And when I speak about my syllabus, I make sure to let any student know to talk to me after class. I don't have them stand up and, hey, raise your hand, tell me you have a disability. But we're all very, I hate to use the word accommodating because I know that we're all trying to make this a universal access for everybody. So, we're on it. We're on it, for sure.
I was going to mention, sometimes folks have issues making their online courses accessible for their tests in Telenet or what to provide extended time on exams, and there are instructions for that on the CTX website as well.
Okay, Luis, quickly.
Are like teachers required to put on the syllabus that like if you guys need help, say like people who are disabled, like are teachers required to put that in there? Like, okay, you could go to the SBS building, are they not? I was wondering.
We have a recommended statement that we have distributed that faculty can use, so it's out there.
It's in one of the handouts.
Yeah.
I have a
On the
sample.
blue one.
You guys, thank you so much.
So we will bring the AP back and the VP, and I'm sure there'll be more questions when you see some of the things in there. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for waiting and everything. Before we start reports, I just need a motion. We didn't do this last week. We just announced it to send me, Carrie, and Scott to Senate Plenary.
So moved.
Second.
Karen, second. All those in favor? Any objections? Abstentions? Excellent. All right, Victor.
So during our Senate meeting last week,
I'm sorry, Victor. We only have 7 minutes, so if you could keep this to like 3 or 4, everybody.
so during our Senate meeting, we spoke about the student administrative assistant positions, and the legislation to support them having resigned from their paid positions was passed. Also, we appointed commissioners in the bulk, and that was concerning to some senators as we didn't take into consideration who these students are, what their like are they suited for the position? We just did it in a bulk, so that was something that was brought up after the fact, and it's something that then is taken into consideration. Something that I wanted to address was, after last week's healthy discussion during my report, it has been brought to my attention that there might be a question of who is seated here during Faculty Senate. When I'm here sitting, I am working side by side with you all. I am Victor Villalobos, student senator, not Victor Villalobos, a social equality club member. If there is any question on the integrity to which I hold this position, please contact me so we may discuss it. I do my best to uphold this position, and any recommendation would be greatly appreciated and taken into consideration. Thank you.
Short, just two things, about elections. One is the CFT convention elections. The ballots are due by Thursday. Unfortunately, this is something, a legal thing that we have to nominate and elect even delegates. So that's one. The second one is CCF, the union's executive board elections. All of us are up for elections, so and anybody else. I encourage others to run, and you will be hearing about nominations. There would be a call for nominations soon next week. So I just wanted to let you know about those elections coming up. These are for 2-year positions. Yeah.
Real quick, for the, what was it, the convention or whatever,
Yeah.
was there some sort of instruction as to how many were supposed to?
You know, we can send up to 31 delegates. And we decided at the last union meeting that we would send, because it's in LA, there's no hotel costs or anything, so we decided to accept anybody who's willing to go. So you can nominate people too, there's a write-in candidate.
Monica, now report. Tim?
Just to encourage everybody to attend the campus forums next week when the presidents show up. A lot of hard work went into selecting those 5, so we want to get as much feedback to the board as possible.
Yeah, there's no meeting for 2 weeks. So next week we cancel, the week after is spring break, so we'll meet back on, whatever date that is, the 24th. And then remember the 31st is canceled for the State of Education address as well. So we did have a chairs council on Thursday, and 2 chairs were elected, Rich Cameron and Carl Stammerjohn. So very exciting about that. I did get some feedback, and I'll be about what happened in the chairs meeting, including summer reassigned time or summer money for being chair, as well as division meetings. There were some questions about what was going on in division meetings and dean's meetings. I have some answers for that. I'm no longer the high chair, which I think is hilarious. So I don't feel that it's appropriate to give that information here, but I will be sending it to Carl and Rich, and they will send it out as chairs of the council to all of the chairs. We do have a meeting today on shared governance this afternoon. We did have a meeting to discuss, I think, did I tell you guys this, the part-time hiring? So we discussed, I told you about that. So we did that, that's on my list of things to tell you. And we met for 1-year scheduling as well. And it looks like we're going to go with, right now, go with the template, much like CIS has. I brought this to the chair's attention as well. If you go to the CIS website, they've got their classes listed out until 2016, when they're going to offer them, what semester. There's no times there, it just tells you what semester they're going to be offered. And Academic Affairs would like all departments to go out for 3 years, at the very least on this template. And then as Academic Affairs works with admissions, there will be a plan to have an entire year schedule, which won't happen at least until fall. So you would have the fall 16, 7, and spring 17 schedule do it once, as opposed to the way we do them now. Okay, that probably won't start till fall 15. And I think that's all I had. Right? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.